I've just started using Twitter for professional purposes. Better late than never. Do you have any advice on how not to get lost in the middle of it? I guess targeting is the key, right? Targeting is always the key. But let's talk a little bit about Twitter as a platform and like how to get the most out of it. So Twitter is a conversation platform. So the problem comes with Twitter, and if you go look at people with a lot of followers, one of two things. Either one, like they just have a lot of time to have accumulated followers, so it may not be necessarily as impressive as you think. Number two is those people are typically engaging in conversations. So they're not just saying, hey, check out my latest blog post. Hey, I'm giving this webinar. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Which I do that, I do that plenty, but like you also need to like engage in conversations. Now to be fair, I myself am also trying to like beef up my Twitter presence. It's not something I really put a lot of effort into. But the easiest and best way that you can start doing that is go follow somebody that you're interested in or that you feel like has some good things to say. It can be a company, it can be a person, it doesn't matter. And when they say something that you have an opinion on, good or bad, reply to that person and comment. So people look at things like, let's say Facebook, right? So Facebook, let's imagine the New York Times posts something and you comment. You're not commenting so that the New York Times sees it, right? You're commenting so that other people in the world see it, and like you start a conversation about this New York Times article, for example. On Twitter, it's different. On Twitter, when you reply to the New York Times post about something, it's because you're thinking like the New York Times is going to see it, and that's like a real thing that happens on Twitter. It's a very, very powerful tool, and I right now am working on using it more for good than evil. And what I mean by that is almost every single time I've needed to contact customer service for a complaint, like frequently happens with travel or like things like that, I go through Twitter. Don't call the customer service number. Don't email whatever black hole email box there is. Your email just like goes into some black hole. I use Twitter. And typically, I've done it in the air, like, I've had internet, I did it in the air, and they actually had a refund in my account before I even landed my flight. Twitter is very powerful because it's public, right? So people are going to see the conversation that's happening. So it's all about engaging in conversation. And it might sound like, well, I don't know, like, what conversations to start. Try to engage in conversations that are already happening. So if your target customers are, let's say, I don't know, pharmaceutical companies, right? Start following people in pharma, right? Start following conversations in pharma. Like, what are people talking about? And who are the people that are actually engaging in this content? Like, what jobs do they have, right? So just start putting yourself, it's a great and free way to put yourself right in your client's shoes, basically. Like, you can just really start like living around your customers without having to put forth that much effort. So very, very powerful. And I would say focus more on the conversation to start. Then you'll have an idea of what types of things to talk about that are going to resonate with your target market. And in addition to that, Twitter is pretty fleeting. So even though like, all the famous people, we see screenshots of their tweets for like forever. You don't really have to think about Twitter that way. You can kind of say things and keep going. I mean, things will always be in your history, but you don't have to like, Facebook, the suggestion is to post like one time a day usually. And Twitter, it's like you can post like 5 or 10 times a day if you wanted to, right? So it's just a very different platform and you use it very differently. And it's because in this conversation, like you're obviously going to be posting multiple times, right? If you're going back and forth with somebody about a topic that you're passionate about. So a lot of words to basically just say engage in conversations. So